going to do the flip side of that coin. We're going to do the worst rated cars. Now, IIHS doesn't necessarily rate cars, so we kind of went through and picked ones that failed certain tests. But before we get to that, let's start the show, Andre.
Let's roll it.
Roll it. Okay, it's not rolling. There it goes. Hey, we're live! Guys, we got a hell of a good show for you today. We really appreciate that you're joining us. And today we're doing one topic and one topic only, Andre, and that is the least, well, I wouldn't say least safe, that's a question mark. It's the worst rated. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're the least safest cars out there. They've just gotten certain aspects of crash testing that they failed. Now, keep in mind the IIHS keeps changing their criteria every year. Once upon a time, it just used to be a car, but now they've added offset crash testing. They've added headlight testing because a recent report suggested that a lot of cool new headlights are just that cool, but not exactly really good. So we're going to give you the cars that had issues in testing. And there is one theme on these cars. What is it, Andre? What that is?
Well, first of all, these 2018 year cars. Also, a lot of these cars haven't been redesigned in a while. And also, IIHS, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, has been, like you said, updating their tests, making them more stringent every single year.
Yeah, and there's a Challenger Hellcat sitting behind us. And I wonder why that is.
It's on the list.
It's on the list! Our long-term Challenger is on the list.
Yes. And guys, I have two laptops here because I want to show you kind of the images of the cars, but also I want to monitor the chat room.
Okay.
So you guys can interact with us and ask some questions.
And always if you have shout-outs, we love shout-outs, so just throw some questions at us and we'll be glad to answer them. But let's get going with that list. What's number 10, Andre?
So somebody said the audio is popping a little bit or lagging. So
Okay.
we apologize about that. But we have a lot of people in the chat room still. And of course, multi-purpose reviewers here.
Hey, you're great. You're always with us. I really appreciate that you're watching.
So well, let's kick off the list. And first on the list is this car. And this
Tesla
is,
Model S, really?
Yeah, and this car is a 2017 model year, actually, because the 2018 year wasn't tested yet by the IIHS. And the reason why it's on this list is a driver's side small overlap crash test. It did had an acceptable rating on that test, and here's how the ratings work. There's 4 levels. There's poor, there is marginal, acceptable, and good. This was acceptable. Also, headlight rating was not very good. Poor.
Really?
Poor in this
An
car.
electric car has bad headlights. Who would have thunk?
Who'd have thunk?
So it did. Which test did it do? Didn't do so well on?
The small overlap. So that means it's not the half of it. It's the quarter of the car hitting the barrier like this.
Yeah. Let's keep in mind that even though this is the car of the future, it was designed a number of years ago, right? This is not a new car. It's been on the market for quite a while. They have kind of upgraded, refreshed the nose on it, but in general, the chassis has been around for a number of years. So once again, it's a car that isn't one of the newest cars on the market, even though people may think it's the car of the future. How's the sound doing? Are we getting good sound? Are people saying anything?
Some good comments are coming in right now. People are talking about the Tesla car, and Brent said he likes our videos. So thank you, Brent.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. We've got a hell of a week coming. We've got fun videos. Actually, we'll give you a sneak peek. Andre, where are you going off tomorrow?
I'm going to Utah tomorrow, Salt Lake City, Park City, which is a ski resort, and I'm going to be driving the GMC heavy-duty truck, all-mountain truck, which was a concept they did, which was actually the snow tracks. It's a truck on tracks.
You're going to be driving a tread truck.
Yes.
And what are you going to be doing with the treaded truck? Just having fun?
Well, I don't know. I think I'll be going up and down the mountain. Day.
And then for all you truck guys, there's some big truck news coming tomorrow. We got an embargoed email from Chevy, so I'd say stay tuned for truck news, big truck news tomorrow on TFLTruck.com.
Actually at midnight Eastern.
Yeah, and guys, we're making changes to the sites where we've changed the comments section, and one of the things we've done too is gone to a new program called Discuss to let you log in with your Google account, your Facebook account. You don't have to create a separate account. That's why we did it. It lets you moderate the comments. The number of comments doesn't show up on the home page of the website. We're fixing that, but we don't want to discourage you from making comments on truck or car. They're not showing up on the home page, even though the comments are being.
Yeah, if you look in the story, you'll see all the comments obviously in the section below.
Definitely come back tomorrow. Big GM truck news. We can't tell you anymore. It's embargoed, but definitely stuff with a
with a picture.
Yeah.
So next on the list, number 9. Let's just go now to number 9. Okay.
Yep.
So number 9 on the list is actually this car, which is a Honda HR-V 2018 model year car.
One of the small
And
crossovers.
recently new.
Yeah.
It was a couple years ago. It was new. It's on this list because once again, driver side small overlap test. It did acceptable. It had an acceptable rating, so not the best rating. And all of these cars on this list, by the way, do not have the top rating from IHS. And also the headlight problem.
Same thing, yeah.
So this has happened like about a year ago, where IHS introduced the headlight testing because they've noticed, or they had reports from people that said, I cannot see very well at night. So they designed a very specific test. It's on their test track, and you have to meet certain levels, you know, how far the light reaches, how wide the light reaches. So they use the same test on every vehicle, and a lot of these vehicles on this list actually don't pass this test.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that IIHS does not actually rate the worst cars, right? They don't do that. They have different ratings, you know, with, what's the top rating again? It's
well, Top Safety Pick Plus.
Top Safety Pick Plus, yeah.
Yes.
And these cars didn't make that. So they don't have a list of these cars. We just went through their website and compiled the cars that had issues on certain tests. I used to be a TV reporter. I lived in Washington, D.C. for a while. And in case you're wondering, the IIHS is the Institute for Highway Safety. And it's a group made by the insurance companies, right? So basically they support it, they fund it. And they take cars and they crash test them. You've seen those videos. They go flying into the overlaps to find out which cars are safe and which cars aren't safe. So it's the same thing as the government crash rating. This is a whole separate thing. It's an insurance institute kind of group that does this.
And usually on the Monroney, you would see both.
Right.
Sometimes the government, which is NHTSA,
exactly,
you would see that rating on your Monroney usually. Sometimes the IHS rating would show up there, but we usually comment on those on our websites and our channels like this.
So keep in mind, there are two different things. This is, once again, not a list that they've compiled, but a list of cars that have issues with certain aspects of their design.
Mike Thompson says, how about the rust test? Is there a rust rating on these?
Yeah, Rusty Boy would have failed that. It's true.
Yes, yes. We don't have rust testing here.
All right, what's number 8, Andre?
It's a VW Passat.
Get out, the Passat. Once again, a car that was designed quite a while ago. It's not new. I went on that, I think I went on the launch of that car, gosh, it must have been, I want to say at least 5 years ago.
Well, they've updated this car, and it's not to say it's an unsafe car.
Right.
I mean, it has the latest adaptive cruise technology, accident avoidance technologies. It's on this list because of the, once again, the front overlap. It got a marginal rating, and also the headlight rating is poor.
Same problem again.
Yeah, same issue. But a lot of these have good ratings in other areas.
Yeah.
Like roof strength test is good, side impact is good. So those ratings are there.
Yeah, and Toyota did something interesting this year in 2018. They created this suite of safety technology that they're now making standard on all of their vehicles, both Lexus and Toyota. And these are things like cross-traffic alert, blind-side monitoring,
adaptive cruise.
I'm not sure if that's part of it, but autonomous braking.
Is it? Yeah.
So there's this list of features that now Toyota is putting on all their cars, and I think that's forcing a lot of the manufacturers to do the same thing, right? Because it used to be that if you wanted some of these features, cross-traffic alert. Cross-traffic alert is like when you're backing up and a car comes across.
It beeps.
It beeps. It's basically software that's using the sensors on the car. Same thing with autonomous braking. It's when you're driving along and let's say you're not paying attention, or a car hits the brakes in front of you and you don't quickly enough respond.
Slower speeds.
Yeah. It won't necessarily avoid the accident, but it'll certainly mitigate the crash. And a lot of the car companies now, because of what Toyota did, and Toyota is the world's largest car company, are forced to do the same thing. So things that used to be on premium cars
or optional
are now becoming standard. I think that's a good thing. The one that terrifies me, of course, is all the stuff where the car steers by itself, because for the most part that is...
Well, that technology is not quite there yet.
Yeah, I like driving.
Technology. Yeah, and we like driving cars.
We like driving cars. Yes. We don't want the cars to drive themselves.
Yes. So next on our list, this is number 7. It's actually another VW, which is the Beetle.
Once again, another older car.
Another older car that hasn't been redesigned.
Yeah, this is the Dune version. We have a review of that we did from Las Vegas. I remember that.
And it's basically, once again, the small overlap test, the passenger and the headlight rating. And I don't know, is this car going to be around for much longer?
Yeah, how do you update a retro car? It's always trouble,
yeah,
right?
they've tried several times, right,
Yeah.
to update it. So.
Yeah, first they made it very feminine with that little vase that they put flour into, and then this version is a little bit masculine. They kind of made it a little bit more butch. But yeah, you know, my issue with the Beetle is the fact that it's built on Volkswagen's catch-all platform, right? And
Yeah.
basically it's a Golf with a Beetle body on it. And I always thought that if Volkswagen really wanted a Beetle, it had to be rear-engined, right? That's what made a Beetle a Beetle.
Rear-wheel drive,
Yeah.
that sense of it, yes.
I don't know what that would do to your crash testings when you don't have an engine between you and the barrier.
Yeah. But the reason why this car is on this list also, it doesn't have all the latest camera technology.
Ah.
So that technology, you know, came a little bit later, so it doesn't have the crash prevention stuff.
That we were talking about.
Yeah, so that's why it's on this list, and it's number 7 on our list. So
Well,
moving on,
Yeah, let's go number 6.
number 6. We're getting into the
no.
Dodge territory.
Oh no.
We're getting into the Dodge territory.
Now-
This is the Charger.
Now you guys know that. Well, let's give away a hat. What do you say we give away a hat? Let's give away a Lexus hat this time.
Okay.
All right. Here's you gotta get. This is a 2-part question. Okay. What is the top speed? And the first person to get this right and
But they have to email us,
they
right?
have to email to us, right? Is
Okay.
it info@?
info@tflcar.com.
Yeah. What is the top speed of the Hellcat version of the Charger, and what is the top speed of the Hellcat version of the Challenger? And they're different.
Yes,
And
and
the first-
which is the quickest car? We need to know the numbers.
And which is the quickest, and what are the two top speeds? And you're going to have to email it to us. First person gets this cool Lexus hat.
It doesn't really fit your head, by the way.
No, it looks like I don't. It looks too small. But so that's what we're giving away during this show. So you know, Google away.
Once again, small overlap test.
Yeah.
And this is an old platform. This was a Mercedes at one point, right?
Yep.
So it's an older platform. Both of these cars are on the same platform. Once again, when you move the offset further and further to the side, what usually happens in a lot of these cars, they don't have a lot of wheel protection. So the wheel gets sheared off, basically, and the wheel could be entering the passenger compartment, you know, just the energy of the impact. So what a lot of manufacturers are not doing, like truck manufacturers, they're providing an extra frame piece to catch that tire, so it doesn't really enter the, but older platforms don't have provisions for that.
Yeah, and you know, these are tough tests to pass, right? Because what you're doing is basically taking all that kinetic energy of the crash, and instead of putting it into the entire front section of the car, right, where the engine slips underneath,
Really upsetting
yeah,
it.
you're offsetting it so it all goes in here, and of course that's where the driver is. So it makes a lot of sense because that's where you're going to be if you do have that crash. And then they put a dummy in there, and they of course mark them up, and they see, you know, if the dummy would have been injured.
As far as a leg injury or head injury. Yeah.
You guys have seen those, but the headlights are good.
Headlights are okay on this
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So they weren't unhappy with the headlights.
Right. So number 5 on this list is actually a GM product, and this is a Cadillac CTS.
The Cadillac CTS. So what was the issue with this one?
Similar issue, but also so the headlight and also the latch restraint system. So
Really?
for the rear seat, you know, the baby seats,
Yeah.
you know, they have the latch system restraints, and they have a specific test for that. You know, how much does it move, etc., etc. So that was an issue with this car as well.
So side overlap and latch.
Small overlap and headlights and latch.
Well, all three of them, huh?
So it did well in other areas,
Yeah.
but those are the areas that put it on this list.
I do have to agree with the fact that they're testing headlights. You know, we've been trying to come up with a good headlight test for our own cars, but yeah, sometimes you get in a car. It's not such a huge issue here in America. In Europe, it becomes a big issue, especially if you're on the Autobahn, and because you can overdrive your headlights, where the speed limit is unlimited. You know, where we can't go that fast. But you're right, and of course the problem is always not just the intensity of the headlights, but how they're aimed, what color of intensity they're getting, right? Because you want the light to feel natural. There's a lot going on there, but I think these guys test mainly kind of where the headlights are aimed, how far they kind of illuminate the road in front
And
of
they
you.
also drive. Part of the headlight test is they're actually driving and kind of seeing how
Yeah, I
much.
saw that video, and it's cool because they go around the turn, and
Right.
of course it helps when you have adaptive headlights. They move with
Right.
the car.
A lot of cars now have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But luxury cars.
Yep.
Not just basic
Well,
cars.
we're halfway down the list, dude. Do we have any shout-outs from our viewers?
Well, yeah, somebody said which email to send the answers to. It's info@tflcar.com for the contest.
Yeah.
To win the hat.
And they're two different numbers because one of the cars is more aerodynamic.
TFLcar.com. Info@tflcar.com.
Okay. Any other shout-outs?
Well, there's
Andre's
a lot.
doing a double job there. You're doing a great job, Andre. Two computers at
I'm
once.
like a DJ, right?
You are, man. You are rocking it, dude. I'm impressed.
Hold on a second. Well, we have a lot of comments here, and what's the top deciding factor for the least expensive auto insurance? So obviously, the higher the rating.
You know what we should do?
Yes.
We should get an insurance person on the show.
Yes.
And talk to him and ask that very question because I'd be guessing at that, but it's a really great idea. So we'll get Zach, our producer, to get on top of that. Maybe we can get somebody actually from, maybe we could, via Skype, we can get somebody.
IHS, yeah.
IHS to actually talk about, what the factors are for rating insurance. I can tell you one of them.
Well, it's the person. It's
your
not just
age.
the car.
It's your age, dude.
It's not just the car. It's also the person who is driving.
Yeah, I just went through our insurance, and Tommy is certainly.
He's still young, a little bit young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, young boys are expensive to insure.
I was a young boy once.
Yeah, I was one too. Why?
Okay. Maybe it's
You
because
guys like to go fast.
Yes.
All the time.
And burn tires. Okay. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's keep going. Number 4, please, Andre.
Number 4, and this may or may not be a surprise to you, but this is one of the most affordable cars in the land. This is Mitsubishi Mirage,
The G4?
G4 sedan.
Yeah.
And it's on this list because, once again, the small overlap test and also side impact it didn't do so well on. But it's a small car.
Yeah.
Sometimes small cars struggle with a lot of those tests because there's not a lot of area to actually absorb the crash.
Yeah, I think on the side impact, it's kind of cool. They take kind of this battering
A
ram.
sled.
And they ram it into the side of the car and see what happens. Yeah.
You'll see a lot of videos on the website. We'll link some of these videos, right?
Yeah. We'll link these videos to this. But I'll tell you, my favorite thing, of course, is this job. But if I would have another job, I think doing those crash testing would be a lot of fun, right? Where you get to go and actually hook these cars up and have high-speed cameras and have all the crash testing.
A lot of work goes into that, right? Because you have to do everything the same way every single time, right?
Yeah.
It's very engineering intensive what those guys do.
Yeah, I wonder what happens to the cars afterwards. That's another great question.
And who provides the cars? Is it just the
They
manufacturer?
go buy them.
So IHS probably buys them.
I know they buy them. I've done the story.
What about the government? I'm
know
sure they're getting it from the manufacturer somehow.
Well, first of all, a lot of this testing actually is done through computers, right? So you don't actually have to crash test a car to get these
When you
numbers.
develop
you develop a car, you
Right.
can actually do it virtually on a computer. And so I'm not sure if the government testing is actually real or if it's simulated via a computer. These guys actually go out and buy the cars and crash them, but you can do this virtually.
Well, the government guys also run them into the wall.
Yeah.
They at least do that. They have tests, physical tests that they do as well. So yeah, so side impact and front small overlap were the issues here.
Okay, let's keep going. We're getting down to number 3.
We're number 3 on the list.
Ugh.
And it could be the car behind us.
Could be the car behind us, yeah. Oh, it is the car behind us. Look at
Okay.
that.
Okay, so the Challenger is on this list. And it's on this list for a very similar reason, but also roof strength was an issue.
Roof strength?
Yes.
They have this machine that kind of comes and squishes the roof.
So they have a machine which kind of has it at an angle. It comes in at an angle and it starts putting pressure on the A-pillar here near the roof. And it measures how much force it takes to actually squish the car down. So it got an acceptable rating in the roof strength. Also head restraints, the seat, the headrest.
Yeah.
Was not a great rating, and also the latch system.
So 3 problem areas, huh?
Yeah, so those areas were the issues on this car. So it needs to be redesigned.
Yeah. I don't
Wasn't
know.
there a rumor that they're using, a
Alpha
new
platform,
Alfa Romeo
platforms
platforms for these cars?
Tim Kuniskis, who was the CEO of Dodge, was just moved over to head up
Romeo,
Alfa Romeo
right?
Maserati, yeah.
Yes.
And there's a lot of speculation right now, and this is kind of, the latest information that we know that FCA is getting ready to potentially spin off some of the brands, right? Because maybe Chinese buyer. Obviously, the two most valuable brands in the FCA basket of car brands are Ram and Jeep because they sell the most and they make the most money. The two least valuable in America, at least, are Dodge and Chrysler. And so the question is, what's going to happen to those brands? Are they going to get spun off? Is a Chinese company going to buy them? But there's been a lot of internal movement happening at FCA right now, and so the speculation is that perhaps getting ready to sell off these brands. And Fiat, of course, the F in FCA is run by a family in Italy, and the family is very tied in politically to the politics of Italy. And so, even though Fiat is also struggling, that'd be another one that they probably should spin off. They probably can't because of politics. So, a lot going on, a lot of potential news coming out of the FCA front, and that's nothing new, right? FCA was talking to GM for a while, but you could see companies that don't have necessarily an off-road brand, right, wanting to buy
A Jeep
or
a
Ram.
truck.
I could see the Volkswagen Group wanting to buy Ram. They don't have a truck.
Yeah, they need truck presence.
They need a truck presence, except for the trucks that they don't bring, of course. They just had a truck at the show.
Concept, the Atlas Ten Oak or Ten Oak.
Yeah, we don't know how to pronounce it. Nobody does. But yeah, I could see Volkswagen buying Ram. Jeep would certainly be another one that a lot of companies would want.
Yes.
So, what number is this?
This is number 2 on our list.
Okay. Once again, one of the cheapest cars.
One of the most affordable cars. Obviously, it's hard to get all the levels done, but once again, small overlap crash test was an issue. Also, the latch system for the child's seats. So
Once again, older design. It's been around a while.
older design, smaller car.
Yeah.
And it's been around for a while, but this is like a $12,000 starting price. I mean, $13,000.
For a while, it was the least expensive car you could buy in America. I think now that one of the Mitsubishis
maybe the Mirage has
taken
bypassed
that honor.
But the next car is actually another Dodge, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Which is actually a Dodge Journey.
Okay.
And let me pull up an image for that.
Okay.
So what were the issues?
The man van, huh?
Very similar issues, though.
Yeah, the issues with the Journey are driver's side small overlap, and headlights and the latches. It had all three of those issues basically.
Yeah.
And it does sell really well. It's a big fleet sales because it's affordable. You can see a lot of them on the road. It's a car that I would have thought would have been long gone by now, but it's still out there. We've had it in the office a few times. It's an affordable people mover.
Yeah, and it's actually still selling big numbers.
Yeah, really big numbers. Actually.
Significant numbers. But I think it's also kind of like a fleet seller.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of the fleet rental companies use this car. But once again, headlight problem and small overlap problem.
Well, those are 10, but we've got some surprises.
Yeah.
You want to go find those pictures, and I'll.
Yeah. Do you want to entertain them for a while?
Yeah, I'll you go find those pictures because they can watch what pictures you're going to find.
Yes.
And these are surprises because these are actually cars that are very popular and that are very expensive in some cases, and you would not.
But they're not perfect. That's a surprise.
But they're not perfect. Yeah.
Right.
And the number one surprise, Andre, is the 2018 RAV4.
Yes.
There it is, right there. And what are the issues with that bad boy?
It has a top safety rating.
Yeah.
From the IHS guys.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. It does have a top safety pick, but there is an issue with the headlights of the vehicle.
Yeah, it did not pass the headlights test, and they introduced a new test.
Yep.
Recently, a small passenger overlap.
Yep.
So right, the driver overlap we just discussed, right? But the small passenger overlap
Make it
test.
bigger, Make it bigger. I'll keep talking.
1 second.
Yeah.
So talk about the passengers.
Yeah. So obviously, when cars are being driven, they're being, of course, driven from the driver's side. So the driver's side overlap test is,
which is the most common accident,
right?
It's
the most common accident. So, but now they've actually also done the same thing on the other side. So if you have a passenger in the vehicle, you'll know if it's dangerous or not. I would say that's quite surprising for Toyota because Toyota has been working very hard to meet these and exceed these standards. And these are important buying decision criteria for a lot of people, right? If you have a family, especially in a family vehicle, then you want to know that the car is safe. And the other problem with it was the headlights, again.
Yeah, and by the way,
They're
the
cool.
new one is coming.
Yeah,
right.
The new. It just got in New York.
Yeah, I just saw it. We did the video on that on the TFL car channel. So obviously they're thinking about all these tests, right?
Yeah.
So when they redesign cars, passenger, driver's side, everything is important. They now put 6 cameras in the new RAV4.
Wow.
6. So you got the 360 view, 4 cameras in the grill, hatch, and mirrors. But also there's a camera at top of the windshield.
Yeah.
To look, to do a safety sense system, driver assistance systems, and also 1 camera on the top of the rear hatch for the rear view mirror, and we talk about that in our video. So
like there's a camera on the inside now.
Yes.
Pretty soon you'll be able to like FaceTime your family and see everything that your wife is seeing as she's driving down the road, right?
Yes.
So you'll be able to see the car in front of her, the car behind her,
The kids being
what the kids are doing in the vehicle. Yeah, it's all going to be so interconnected. Oh gosh, help us, Andre, help us.
So there's a second surprise,
Yeah?
and it's a luxury car once again.
A luxury car, an
Yes.
expensive luxury car at that.
Well, yeah, it's one of the
Entry-level.
best sellers,
Yeah.
right? One of the best sellers, and it's a Mercedes C-Class.
All right, what is wrong with the Mercedes C-Class?
Not much.
Not much.
Just headlights.
Really?
Hey, those fancy headlights.
See, you can make it bigger so people can see it. That is
Hold
so
on a
tiny.
second.
We can see it, but those guys can't.
Sorry about that. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great car.
Yeah, the headlights
Right?
are an issue.
It's a great car, but
Remember in the day? I don't know if it's just me or if I'm. But you guys remember the days when we all had to have those little square headlights, like from the year of the YJ. All cars had to have the same headlight in America. Well, those days are long gone. Everybody's got their own design. Everybody's got something that's
their own signature.
Their own signature. Headlights really have become signature, but the problem, of course, is, once is it style over substance.
Yeah, and this car has everything, driver assistance systems, adaptive cruise system, old side, roof, boom, everything is good, except their rating on the headlights was poor.
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
That's a surprise. Surprise. All right, Andre, we've got 3 minutes left before we have to wrap up the show. Are there any more shout-outs that we can give to our fans? Thank you guys once again for watching us. Remember, TFL Now Live is on every Monday, Wednesday at 11. And Wednesday, we're going to be turning into our truck show. So coming up this week, we're going to have Mr. Truck in the studio, and we're going to be talking trucks. It'll be Ask Mr. Truck. It'll be your opportunity to question him. And I just want to personally say thank you to all our Patreon supporters. We've actually getting close to our goal of $5,000. We're at $1,600 a month. People are asking why are we doing this, and that's because we just want to keep the production value high. We want to try to do stuff that's new and innovative like this show, and this takes a lot of people. There's a lot of people back there that you guys can't see to produce this.
Yeah, so there are a few comments. Some people say there are not a lot of full-size cars or SUVs on this list.
Yep.
And that's true, and that's because they're full-size.
Yep.
They're very large, and they have a lot of just inherent safety because of how big they are.
Yeah, I mean the physics of an F-150 ramming a smart car are obviously
in the favor
of the F-150. Yeah.
Yes. There's some comments that people are disappointed about the RAV4. Once again, this is not to say it's not a safe car.
No, it's not
Right.
unsafe. It's just
it did not get
it's a
perfect
moving
ratings.
target, guys. IIHS keeps changing the criteria, and they keep upping the
Making it
bar,
more difficult.
making it more difficult. So these results are based on their newest round of testing. I'm sure if you were to have done this test, criteria from 5 years ago, all these cars would be very safe. So it's not that they're not safe, it's just that they're not meeting the latest IIHS safety testings. And by the way, Andre, do you know where I'm going tomorrow?
Where are you going?
I'm going to Amsterdam, dude.
Holy cow, what are you doing in Amsterdam?
I'm going to be driving the new Sprinter. So we're going to have
The new Mercedes.
Yeah, one of the newest Sprinter videos. Thank you to Mercedes for inviting us out there and flying me out there. And I'm really appreciative. And so look for that. We're going to have that hopefully published as soon as possible. And right now, Nathan is driving, as we speak,
Yes.
the new Jetta.
The 2019 VW Jetta. He's making a review right now.
Yep, he's filming it. So they're gonna fly in tonight, and I'm gonna start editing my little hands off until we get it done, and hopefully we'll have that video for you Wednesday morning. So Wednesday morning, new Jetta, and then Saturday, the new van. Those are the two big reviews new Sprinter van that were coming.
Okay.
Any other shout-outs before we say goodbye?
The Dodge Durango was not on this list. Somebody's asking, is
Okay.
Dodge Durango? No, we did not have it on this list.
All right, and do you by any chance have the close of the show here?
Let's see if I can make it happen.
Woo! Ciao.
And we're off.